Well, hello everybody from the Art Shed Angel Studio here in Dungay in Australia. I'm Lucy and I'm going to show you today how to do some jelly print transfers. So please follow me on my YouTube channel, or you can find a lot of my work and my live videos on live art journaling and self-development. And that's a Facebook group, so there will be a link below in the comments. So what I'm going to show you is how to do these jelly print transfers. So it's very, very easy. There's a couple of them here I want to show you, sorry. And these are the transfers done with the jelly print. I also have some extra ones that I want to show you. So you can see here that you can take a magazine photo, and with your jelly print, this one here is printed on a craft paper and it has a white background, which I'm going to show in this video as well. So these are just prints that I've done, and in a further video I'm going to show you how I put it together. So all I need to have to do this is my jelly plate. So you can get a jelly plate online or at craft stores, and they're really, really versatile for so many things. I also have a video on how to do backgrounds and that with the jelly plate. So you need a jelly plate, you need a couple of what we call brayer rollers, or rollers. So they're a hard rubber roller. You need to have that, and you need to have some paint. Now, one of the things I've found is when you're doing this process that you need quite a sticky paint, and it only needs to be really thinly placed. The other thing we need is some magazine photos. So I've chosen some magazine photos here. I'm going to do this girl. Now they need to be a glossy, you can see this is a glossy magazine. So I found magazines like Bazaar and Elle and that really work, but the more I've done it, the more I'm finding that almost any magazine works, but you have to expect that sometimes it's not going to work. For whatever reason, it doesn't work, and so what I tend to do is I need to condition my plate first. So it's kind of magic. I really have started to go into doing different kind of pictures, so I've chosen some sort of odd pictures. I really like this one here. This one will probably only end up a little bit of a silhouette, but I kind of like that for an artwork. So I'm now starting to look. I've also really like this house. I'm going to give that a go. And also the piano. So I'm going to give all of these a go. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the tiniest bit of paint. Now this is a black acrylic. It's an artist acrylic, and it's very highly pigmented. So I'm only going to put the tiniest bit amount on the plate. You can have another plate here or something that you can roll it on first, but I'm just going to put it straight onto the plate. Now I often find that the very first one I do doesn't always work, and that could just be because I washed my plate with some detergent and that might still be on there. So don't be worried if the very first one doesn't work. So I'm going to do another photo here and just do that as a trial one. So I've just put the brayer roller, I put the paint on very thin, okay, and then I'm just going to put my photo on it. So this is the photo that I want to use. I'm going to put it flat down on the plate, and I'm going to rub it with my hand. Now you just need to rub it, don't rub it too hard, okay? And have your paper ready, depending on where you live and how hot it is. I live in Australia, so it's quite hot. Sometimes if you rub it too hard, you're going to take too much of the paint off. Now you can see immediately that we have her face there. So I'm just going to put that down and give it a smooth out. If you've got an extra brayer roller, that's great, because an extra one, you can give it a roll. Now if your print is too light, that can be because we don't have quite enough paint, and this is kind of one of those things where you've got to play a little bit. So you can see there we've got her imprint, but it's not really great. So let's try another one. Put a little bit more paint down. This time I'm going to put some purple as well, and a little bit of the black. And you can see that I'm only really putting the smallest amount of paint down. We don't, if we put too much paint down, it doesn't work at all. And I'm really spreading this paint out thin. It's kind of a bit of a balance between too thick and too thin, and you need to experiment. So let's see what we end up with her. Now I want her writing to be on it too. So I'm going to just, sometimes I don't press too hard because you sometimes take too much of the paint off. If you can imagine, what we're doing here is the paint is sticking back onto the paper, but we don't want it all to stick on. So this one I rubbed it a little bit less, and it's a far better print. So it's really about experimenting, and she's going to be great. But this time I'm going to get a different roller, and I'm going to put some white gesso just down on my paper here, and I'm going to use a clean roller. And I'm just going to roll this out on some paper so that my roll is nice and wet. And then I'm just going to take a roll straight up the page. And that's all I'm doing. Because this one, you've got to do this quite quickly. I want to put it down onto the craft paper. You can't muck around with this. You've got to get in pretty quickly. And we've got her now. She's turned out good. I'll just dry that out. She's turned out quite nicely, and I do actually really like the contrast between the craft paper and the rest of it. So she's worked out quite good. I'll put her here. Now let's try another one. This time I might do that nice piano. Now you can see there's still paint left on there. I'm not even worrying about that because I'm adding more over the top. Now I've found better quality paints do work best, but most paints work quite fine. Okay, so I might do this black and white photo now. So this is the black and white one. Now I know that I'm not going to get all of that. Just use my roller. I actually missed it a little bit. It's not as good as I hoped it would be. But I wanted to show you that, you know, it is a little bit hit and miss, but it's quite fun. When you get a good one, you get a really good one. And they are just magazine photos. But I use this in collage anyway. See, I actually think that's quite a nice one for the background in a collage. And also you can see here, if there's wording that you like, you can actually do your wording like this, which is a great way. If there was a poem or something like that, you could definitely do it with this kind of effect. So let's try another one. This time we'll use the black again. You can see I'm not even cleaning the plate. Just rolling it on thinly. If you put it on that thickly that you can see streaks in your paint, then it is too thick. So make sure you just do it thin. Now I'm going to put this lovely man here. So I might actually cut this time so that I don't miss him. And also roll it again if you're not going to do it right away. And I'm going to put that down like that. See what this does for us. And this is quite beautiful. So I really like that, the silhouette. And I think I'm going to really want to have that on the white, with the white background on the craft paper. So I've got to have my craft paper ready, because once I do this, I really don't have time to wait for the paint to start to separate. So I'm just and I'm loving that for a collage piece. So that's going to be a beautiful torn out collage piece in a in one of my journal pages. So in my next video, I'm probably going to use some of these pieces together. I mean, she now looks like she could be even waiting for him to come back from his endeavours with the bird catching. So I could create a whole story around this. But let's do the cottage as well, just as a final one. And I might do that just on white paper. So I'm doing the cottage as well. Just rolling it. And I'm using this cottage. And I'm going to just put it down. I found buildings work really, really nicely, and they make terrific backgrounds. Same as trees or flowers that have got high contrast. So this was just a magazine from an op shop. Oh, and the cottage is just gorgeous. So I wanted to put another row of white behind there. Oh. And I'm going to put that onto the craft paper as well. And that looks like an old photograph. So it, to me, is a little eerie. It's kind of like an old glass slide. So these are really beautiful ways to get prints to make collage backgrounds. So don't just make lots of them, actually use them. And I'll just do one more because I think it's going to go with this particular theme, and I will do it in my next video. So I'm just going to put a little bit of black down this time. What I'm going to do this time is I'm not going to cover the whole plate. I'm just going to do a mismatch. Now this way can look really, really good because you end up with this weird pattern as well. And I'm going to do this little piano. Or might not be a piano, might be one of those other things. So I'm just rubbing that on there and then pulling it off. And it's quite dry, so even though I'm going to put it on white paper, I'm still going to put a little bit of the gesso behind. It could be white paint, I'm just using gesso because I tend to use gesso as my white paint. I'm just going to do that. Put the white on this time. And that's actually quite stunning. So this one has a super amount of detail, but it still has those cracks through it. So, you know, these are just printing plates. These are just old magazines that I've gotten from an op shop. My braille rollers and my Gelli plate, and you can see that, you know, there's so much you can get. Now this still has a little bit of paint on my rollers, or if you haven't, just put a little bit. I tend to use whatever I've got left on my rollers. In this case, you can see I'm just doing swatches. I've got some white left here. Just do some little, and then I've got some colours that match, and I'm going to use that with the white. And now this, even though it's very subtle, will end up being part of a collage with these that to me kind of tell a story. So in my next video, if you follow me and subscribe to me, in my next video I'm going to put together this. I'm Lucy from Live Art Journaling and Self-Development on Facebook groups. My business name is also Art Shed Angel. I'd love you to follow me on Facebook or join our group. It's free. We do live videos in the group, which is lots and lots of fun. And I hope to talk to you soon and show you more. So please watch the next video. Thank you. Bye.